Chloorkop-based club has dominated in all but one arena in which it competed. Its only failure coming in at the FIFA Club World Cup, where even Mosimane had to concede that the quality of football being played was of a different level altogether. But knowing him, he took it in and will be better and smarter for it. Joining me tonight is seasoned journalist Mark Stratham. Good evening, Mark. Thanks very much for coming through.
Kendall, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Mark, let's look back at Sundowns over the last season. The awards last night were just the last in a series of accolades. Can you take us a little bit through the journey they took to get to that point?
Yeah, Kendall, I think you used the word dominated. I think that's spot on. I mean, the Sundowns have had a outstanding year. It's been a spectacular success for them, and the awards were just a proof of that. You know, starting with the first 5 months until May, when they won the PSL. With a grueling schedule, they had to play in the Champions League at the same time. Then coming back from their holidays after AS Vita's were kicked out of the Champions League, and you know, a lot of teams wouldn't have dealt with that. And it's the winning mentality of this team that they flew through the group stages of the Champions League. They beat Zesco very well, a very good Zesco team in the semis, and then dominated Zamalek in the Champions League final. And the awards are really just a reward for what a wonderful year they've had. And it's wonderful for South African football that to be that dominant at the CAF Awards for a South African club is really something that hasn't really happened.
And considering that the entire campaign, Pitso's slogan was against all odds,
yes.
They actually managed to do it.
Yes, that was a really catchy slogan, but I think it also, what I liked about what Pitso did is he never said my players are tired, even though they had these grueling schedules. You know, at the time that they were playing the semi-finals of the Champions League, they were playing MTN semi-finals against Chippa United in midweek. It was crazy, and that slogan of against all odds, I think, motivated the players. I think the cleverness of not saying my players was tired was that they never got that as an excuse.
Yes.
And and to be African champions, and now for Pitso, well deserved. And you know, that's the culmination of, I think, of his career. This has got to be his defining year as a coach. He's become possibly our first international class coach, and to win Coach of the Year at CAF Awards, I think is acknowledgement of that.
Looking a little bit into Pitso Mosimane, when he took over the club in 2012, 2013, I think it was, the club was struggling.
Yeah.
But since then, they've won two PSL leagues. They've actually also captured the CAF Champions League along the way.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff.
It is, Kendall. I mean, the club had not won a trophy in 6 years when Pitso took over. They were fighting relegation under Johan Nieskens. Things had gone pear-shaped. And to turn that around, and people can say, well, he's got the players, but for 6 years, really big name coaches, Henri Michel, Johan Nieskens, Christo Stoichkov, you know, couldn't win trophies. So and I think what Pitso did initially was to get these superstars to work as a unit and to buy into the vision, or that they should be winning things. And he's made great signings. He you know, in his second year, he maybe got a bit criticized for making too many signings, but that when he sort of just added a bit of quality this year in the last off season, it all came together. And this is just, you know, the CBD, Chloorkop and Tiani Mabunda in midfield, Arendse and Ntete in defence, Tuan Yango, who won CAF's Player of the Season. It's come together magnificently. I think this is a Sundowns team that to me reminds of their great teams of the 1990s, and that we haven't been able to say about a lot of PSL teams.
No, very good. We'll probably be saying the same thing about these guys in about 10 years' time. Let's talk a little bit about the players. I mean, let's go to the awards themselves.
Yeah.
Last night, Billet and Onyango were two of the nominees.
Yeah.
But what about Mabunda? What about Dolly? The captain Kikana?
Yeah.
Surely they could also have put up their hands and say, look, you know, we deserve to be in this category as well.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, Keegan Dolly and Chloorkop. I mean, Chloorkop was nominated for the Pushkas Award for that goal that he scored for Bafana Bafana. He's had a stunning year too. I think so many Sundowns players have. It must have been hard to come up with a short list, and in the end, I guess Billiat and Onyango were the two that stood out. Is it a little bit? I don't think it's surprising, because Dennis has had such a spectacular year. But for me, Kama Billiat just seemed like the standout player in Africa this year, so maybe there's a little bit of a surprise there.
I think a lot of people would agree with you there.
Yeah, I think there is a little bit of a surprise, but also we don't look so much at what Dennis did for Uganda, for qualifying for their first Nations Cup in 38 years, where apparently he was a wall, and I'm sure CAF looked at that too, so well deserved. But I think Kama Billiat really unlucky. And then, of course, I mean, Keegan Dolly was shortlisted and Chloorkop was shortlisted. They never made the final three. But just, yeah, it's a reflection of Sundowns' year that they had 4 players in that 10 shortlist.
And obviously with the club doing so well, people start taking notice of the players themselves. Surely it's time for some of the players to go overseas?
Yeah, yes. I mean, there's an issue right now with Keegan Dolly, who's had a dispute with Sundowns about a buyout clause. There's interest from Olympiacos and Montpellier. There's interest definitely in Mamelodi. And I think so. Yeah, I think possibly some players can wait till the end of the season and then move. Some will be looking to move possibly in this January transfer window. I mean, it's going to be hard for Sundowns to try to hang on. They are already trying to hang on to Keegan. I'm sure they'll try to hang on to Mamelodi too. But you've got to look at age too, and European clubs like young players. And so 6 months down the line, the player's just a little bit less desirable. And yeah, I think definitely Sundowns players, they've attracted. I mean, Percy Tau's goal at the Club World Cup against Hyundai Motors was a world-class goal. I mean, people around the world must have sat up and took notice. And the year that he's had, he's still a raw talent. But what a talent. And yeah, so I think, yeah, definitely there's going to be European clubs looking at Sundowns players.
In closing, you mentioned something about how Pitso came into the club and got a whole lot of superstars to work together as a unit. Is it time for him to go back to Bafana Bafana, you think?
Sure, that's a really good question, Kendall. I think, yeah, Pitso's in a really, really good place. I know he wants to prove. I'm sure that he wants to prove himself with Bafana Bafana again, because it didn't work out so well the time before. I think he's a better coach now. I think he's grown. He's grown in leaps and bounds with the stage that he's performed on. I'd love to see Pitso Mosimane as coach. I think the research he does into opposition, and he's so meticulous, and with the growth that he's had, I think he could be really good. I think it's a tough decision for him because he's in a really good place at Sundowns. He wants to try win a second star, but at some level too, how much more can he do at Sundowns? So yeah, that's a great question, Kendall, and let's wait and see.
Mark Stradham, thank you so much. I really appreciate your thoughts, your insights, as well as the valuable answers you've given us. I really think that there's a lot to be said about Mamelodi Sundowns and where they're going as individuals and as a unit.
I really enjoyed being here. Thanks, Kendall.
Thank you.